It's time to pimp your one-handed backhand. So this is the video you guys have been waiting for so long, a one-handed backhand transformation. And we have Kirby Bridges here who's going to, we're going to transform her backhand into a one-handed backhand. Now here's the big thing. We're not doing it because she struggles with her backhand or some crazy thing. We wanted to use Kirby because of her innocence. She's never hit a one-handed backhand before, and we wanted to give you the opportunity to see how you would work on hitting a one-handed backhand. And the keys, the things you need to understand, you're going to learn in this video. So make sure you stay tuned as we take you through the 3 keys that you need to understand to hit your backhand, just like Kirby will at the end of this video. So the 3 keys that you need to understand to have a great one-handed backhand is, first, you have to have a great unit turn. If you don't have a great unit turn, you're always going to be late. So if you find yourself being late all the time, that's probably why, and we're going to show you in this video how to overcome that. The second key is making sure you have the butt pull. Yeah, I said it, butt pull. I'm going to say it one more time for you. Butt pull. The butt pull is one of the most important keys that I don't hear a lot of coaches talking about in the one-handed backhand. And if you think it sounds weird, it isn't. It's a key to having a great one-handed backhand. And finally, the third key is making sure that you have pull number 1 and number 2. Now, all these things may sound like, what the heck are you talking about? But again, keep watching this entire video because we're going to go through every key with Kirby, and you're going to see how we're going to transform her. Well, she has a two-handed backhand right now, but she's going to have a great one-handed backhand when we're done. So now let's get down to work. Now, before we talk about anything else, we need to talk about one little thing that's so big, which is the grip. So Kirby's going to show you exactly an easy way to find the grip. I basically have Kirby stretching out her right hand, which is her non-dominant hand, and having the racket very vertical. So can you show me having this stretched out here? And you can see how the racket is pretty much straight up and down. And now I'm going to have her grab the racket with her dominant hand, which is her left hand. And go ahead and grab the racket. You can see how, I'll come over this side, you see how her wrist is. So one mistake that players make sometimes is they have a grip where the racket's like this, and that's not the grip we want. Or it's too far under here. The reason we have it in this nice neutral position is that this represents contact. And so by having the wrist in this position, you're going to have a nice, secure contact. So that's why this is so important. So make sure you start with that first. Now, we're going to lead into the unit turn. So I'm going to ask Kirby to get in a ready position facing this way. Now, obviously, everything's going to start from a ready position. With Kirby in the ready position, I want her to go ahead and start with the grip we just worked on. So as she grips out, she's going to have the racket in front of her just like this. Now, the unit turn is a very simple move, and it really comes down to just moving your shoulders and stepping out with the leg. So what I'm going to have Kirby do is do a little split step. She's just going to turn her shoulders, and as she turns her shoulders, it's going to take the racket back. So we're going to scoot this forward a little bit more, okay. And Kirby, you're going to split step and then turn your shoulders. So that's really good. Now, one thing I like that what Kirby's doing is, if you notice the racket face here is facing back. Also, notice how her wrist is still in that great position with the butt of the racket facing down. Now, one thing I will have Kirby do is probably bend her leg just a little bit more, and that adds a little bit more stability. Go ahead and straighten it up again. You see how before, I'm going to play, she's losing balance a little bit.
Kevin.
So calm down, Kirby. So if we're straight, we're going to lose balance, and we want to have some knee bend. It's so important. So if you find yourself losing your balance in the unit turn, that's why. So make sure you bend your knee a little bit more. So could you go back to that, do that again, that position, and turn. Again, keys, having the racket face back, this down. This is a great unit turn. The other thing you'll notice that's so important, you'll see great one-handed backhands have this great turn where if Kirby's looking over her shoulder, I like to say her chin is over her shoulder here, and that's so important. So this is a solid, solid unit turn. Kirby, could you do it one more time?
Of course.
Go split, turn. Okay, awesome. The second key position is the famous butt pull. Now, I love that word, butt pull. One more time.
It makes me nervous.
Butt pull. Now, just understand that my hands will not be going there today, but let's focus on tennis. So the butt pull is a really important pull. It provides the most leverage for your one-handed backhand. And this is by far, oh my God, one of the biggest mistakes I see players making is they don't get into the butt pull. Okay, so what is the butt pull? The butt pull is simply having the racket in this position, meaning that the strings are now facing back. The butt of the racket is facing to the side. Now, this is the reason why it's so important. Most players simply take the racket back to this position, and the runway they have to hit the ball is very limited. When you get to the butt pull position, now Kirby can use this extra length and leverage to create more racketed speed. So if you're lacking racketed speed and potential spin and power, it's probably because you're not getting to the butt pull. So how do we get to the butt pull? If you're starting from the unit turn, what Kirby's going to do is use her hand to drop the racket and pull the racket down in this position. It's a key move. So once, if you're in a great unit turn, all you have to do from this position is pull the racket down here. Now, what Kirby's going to feel is you're going to start to see this nice long stretch. Now, this helps her engage her legs and hips when she wants to start pulling the racket forward. So she's going to start in a unit turn again. Good. And all she's going to do, I'm going to come around here, is she's going to use this non-dominant hand to drop the racket. And this is a mistake, though, and I'm glad she did this. You notice how when she dropped, she came out of her wrist position where it's neutral. When she comes out of this grip, we want to actually turn the racket and make sure she's in a grip. And this happens a lot. Sometimes as you're working through it, you might lose your grip. So it's really important to make sure you stay in that grip position. So she's going to pull the racket down, and now look how her wrist is in a much better position. This keeps her in this L-shaped position that we haven't talked about, but I'm going to mention here. Making sure that this hand creates an L shape and it doesn't unlock to create almost like a straight line as we pull the racket to the butt pull position. So I'm going to have Kirby go ahead and start in her unit turn, and then she's just going to simply work her non-dominant hand and pull the racket down, keeping her wrist in this nice position. That's great. Let's do it 2 more times, Kirby. Good. 1 more time. Good. And from this butt pull position, now she's in a great position to have great length and great leverage to pull her backhand through the shot and have great racketed speed. So now it's time to practice. I know we've only went through the first 2 keys, but we don't want to go too far without training and creating new muscle memory. And so what we want to do now is go through a series of shadowing drills just to make sure you can fully do the unit turn and then go to the butt pull. So what I have Kirby do is simply start with her grip and then making sure she splits, and then she takes the racket back to the unit turn. So good, we're going to just check this. The string's facing back, the racket facing down, great shoulder position. And now she's going to use her non-dominant hand to pull the racket down into the butt pull position. Really crucial here that we keep this L shape, and that as she pulls, she doesn't let the racket kind of go forward or kind of do some funky thing. It's just going to go all the way down just like that. Okay, so she's going to go back to her ready position again and continue to just work through and shadow. Okay, good. 2 more times. Okay, shadow down. Good. 1 more time, we're going to add 1 more thing. Good. So as she stays, she's in this position, I want Kirby to now work on adjusting her foot. So she's in this butt pull position. She's going to start stepping forward and getting ready to hit the ball. Okay, good. So now we're going to put it all together where she's going to go unit turn, butt pull, and as she's in the butt pull, she's just going to step forward. Okay, she's going to keep going. And again, this is perfect. You can see how Kirby's not necessarily used to the stroke because she hits a 2-handed backhand. And you can see how she's like catching herself and noticing and really focusing on what she has to do here. Now, as we go and continue, there's little tidbits we'll continue to work on, but she's got everything right here.